Preview of Space Age Asteroid Belt in Forge of Empires. In the meantime, the images and the text in Forge of Empires improved so much that I assume that the next era, Space Age Asteroid Belt, will become available for testing on the beta server very soon. Based on the analysis of that text and the images, it is possible to conclude a lot about the upcoming next era. All information given in this video is not yet confirmed by InnoGames. I am not writing about my game experience with the new era. I just want to provide a first impression of how the new era will look like and what you can expect. Please understand that everything still can be changed. Let us start with the changes in our city. After researching the first technology of Space Age Asteroid Belt, we will receive a new city hall. On the two-lane roads we will see new vehicles. In the small streets we will see new inhabitants. I isolated these and zoomed them a bit larger so that you can see at least a bit. To be able to show a bit more of the new buildings, I created some space in my city on the German server Noasil. The first building to show is a supply production building, with the usual size for such a building of that advanced age. The second production building, with an attractive small size, might be the new premium production building. I assume the same with the cultural buildings. The huge building can be the normal one and the smaller than the premium building. Those who complete the guild expedition every week will occasionally get rewarded with such a premium building. Therefore, it is an option for every player. As the building space is limited, I added the military buildings one after another. Based on the naming of similar files in previous eras, I assume that the first building will produce artillery units. The second will then produce light units, the third fast units, the fourth heavy units, and finally the fifth ranged units. I cannot assign the images of the units to the individual military buildings, therefore I show them separated from the building. Please let me emphasize again, this is very early information, not confirmed by InnoGames. We can also have a look on the two residential buildings. I again assume that the first will be the normal building and the second will then be the premium building. Most players who advance to that new age will receive their population from great buildings and event buildings, often more than they really need. Until now, I only could find one new great building. We saw that already with other ages, that parts of the content, like the second great building, were published later. This great building with a floor size of 4x7 tiles is a sort of Himeji castle for players who negotiate. The first number of negotiations have a certain chance to receive a random reward. With the daily collection, this will be reset as usual. I assume that the rewards will be exactly the same as for Himeji castle, with one exception. The Spoils of War selection kit, which is interesting for fighting players only, will be replaced by the Diplomatic Gift selection kit. This allows you to pick either a wishing well shrink kit, or a renovation kit. Especially from these you never can have too many. There will also be 5 buildings for good production. We all remember, when the Space Age Mars began, we were warned that this outpost will only be available until we reach the next era, Space Age Asteroid Belt. at the beginning of this new era, we get warned again that this new outpost on the asteroid belt will only be available as long as we are in that age. As we can produce Mars-age goods on Mars only and asteroid belt goods on the outpost in the asteroid belt only, we will have the problem that with leaving an age, we would no longer be able to produce the related goods. A new technology in space-age asteroid belt will enable us to create these goods on planet Earth, using these special buildings. Clicking on our space shuttle will now lead us to our settlement on the asteroid belt. This settlement seems to work the same way as the settlement on Mars. There is a city hall, residential buildings, life support buildings, and buildings to produce the new goods. Instead of the Mars ore that was needed for Mars-age goods, the asteroid belt goods require asteroid ice. The province map has 2 new provinces, each with many sectors. One of these will contain the PvP tower. 2 others will give us access to 2 of the 5 resource deposits. Some sectors will then provide asteroid ice. We can expect that this requires again a lot of fighting or negotiations every day. Finally, we can have a first look on the new battlegrounds. From the image, I cannot conclude the special abilities and fighting values. We all will know more about that when the beta test will start. I hope with this early preview I was able to give you a first idea of how the new age will look like. We will see us soon in the asteroid belt.